you're up.
Well, hello there's and there's. Welcome back to Krown's magical derp cave.
Derp cave? Get the fuck out of here, sir. Let's get back into these charts. Whoops, I'm on the wrong screen right now. But hey, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Would like to wish you the best and the happiest on this nice little Tuesday morning over here from a fucking snowy Helsinki, Finland. What the hell is going on right now? It's March, god damn it. Anyways, I'm gonna be slipping and sliding my whole goddamn way through this town. But that's okay because Bitcoin is looking nice and girthy right now. Oh my God, it is a lovely morning to be waking up to this. And of course, I do want to follow up in the yesterday night's short-term time frame analysis, as we did actually have a very good day yesterday. So yesterday we did look at traditional markets to kind of give us the short-term downside, of which we did get down to about 49,000 bucks. Then a little bit of a bouncy bounce. Then we came back on the late day wrap-up video, if you want to call it that. And what did we see? We did see that. Sorry, it was not Nasdaq. Actually, Nasdaq having a pretty nasty day right there. But more importantly, Dow Jones and SPY both leading the way, and that to give the buys for Bitcoin having a little bit of upside here. And this is where we end up today. Another 3,000 bucks to the upside, 4,000 bucks almost since we last spoke. So is a nice little Tuesday over there in cryptocurrency land. Anyways, what do we see and how does this change the overall picture? Well, most importantly, we do see that open interest is picking up massively with price action. We did see about $1 billion added in contract position from yesterday to today, as Bitcoin does take a nice leg up from the short-term, medium-term time frame range up to about 54,000 bucks, 54,500 bucks as we've seen thus far. And this is going to have actually really big implications. So remember this number, remember this sort of interpretation right here. And let's go check out some of the other things on the dashboard before we get into the more minutia of this analysis. Anyways, fear and greed index still stuck in an 81. That would be rather reasonable, seeing as Bitcoin is still more or less bullish. And I read that more of like a optimism, pessimism sort of indication, not necessarily fear and greed, because that does have more negative or pejorative context. Bitcoin dominance also heading up about 0.5% from yesterday to today as well. So I do want to check on that one. However, I will kind of spoil the surprise, as I already did look at it this morning, and still looking for a reversal there actually. And when we look at price action, you will see kind of why. Anyways, top 10 coins, top 10 worst coins. What do we see over here? Not really too much on the top worst coins. I mean, yeah, we do see some down about 4%, 3%, but that's nothing compared to what the fuck is this thing, man? Chili's going 73%, over 73% since yesterday to today. What in the actual fuck, man? I remember yesterday it was actually in the top 10 as well. We see actually several usual suspects in here. We see Chili's, we see Quant, we see Decentraland, we see Nano. Oh my God, Nano's in the top 10 for once, and VeChain too in 1inch, whatever the hell these things are. So let's go into the market data tab. I do want to see a little bit more insights into, yes, this is exactly what I want to be seeing right here. Okay, so open interest absolutely taking a massive leg up. What's most important right here is we actually do see that open interest is making a new high, or actually is it making a new high or testing the prior high? It's essentially testing the prior high. It's about 20 million away from taking that out, and that's pretty much nothing as far as open interest is going. And more importantly, we do see that open interest is already superseding where price action would be. So with that in mind, that does suggest that Bitcoin is in more or less of a continuation phase right here. We're going to line that up with the actual analysis itself. Hey, what's up, Dorvalis? I see you over there. I'm curious. You think GME as a dead cat bounce? You told me to come back in a week or two. Let's go back after a little bit of Bitcoin analysis right here. Anyways, coming back down to our other charts, what do we see with the funny rate? We do see, oh my God, man, Bybit's way the hell out there. Once again, FTX the same thing as well, but no one else above the threshold. And more importantly, we do see it creeping up, which you would expect as Bitcoin does kind of prove itself through this overall range. But first things first, actually want to see a break of the range. So Nothing too consequential right there. And of course, the last time that we were actually around this level, around the $58,000 level, or even just above 55,000 bucks, you can see that it was significantly higher as far as the global funding rate does go. So I do look at this still more or less healthy and indicative of another leg of continuation here. Anyways, y'all asking to get banned. Jesus Christ. Hey, what's up, Philson? I see you over there, man. So with all of that said, I think it's time to go into the actual price action charts themselves. I do want to take a sippy sip of this last little drop of caffeinated coffee that I have right here. That was actually literally the last drop. All right, nice one. Anyways, let's go over here into our secondary charts once again today. And there's a couple big things that I want to point out right here. So first and foremost, obviously, Bitcoin on the daily is getting that bullish signal, not just the MACD, but also the ADX DMI. The ADX DMI is showing the DMI plus dominant with the ADX strengthening. This is typically, a pretty damn strong signal, especially coming from these areas right here. Last time we saw something that was comparable to the signal was actually back on over here in February on that move to actually our current all-time high of about $58,000. And then same thing right on over here as well. As you do see, it was strengthening as the DMI plus just barely gets dominant. This was your December rally, essentially out of the $20,000 prior all-time high. And then, of course, before that, we have this one over here in October on that major move from about, I think that was about 10,000. Yeah, about 10,000 all the way to, really like 18,000 on 18,000. Now, this is, again, being accompanied by a daily MACD bullish crossing right here as well. And there's several things that should talk about this. So not only do we have a potential bullish cross in play right here, which, as you can see with caretaker's reverse function, it will very likely confirm that one. Any sort of a closure above $51,000 does look good to me. 54,400 for an extra for even better. And then more importantly, we are breaking back above the 20 simple, and it has a positive slope. So that is also accompanied by what we see on the daily MACD histogram, which is actually having a hidden bullish divergence off the lows. You can see that we made significantly lower lows right here on the histogram alongside massively higher lows on price action. So all of these things combined together, again, giving me a little bit more of a bullish continuation bias, not just in the short term, medium term, but as we get to the higher term timeframes, well, I'll spoil the surprise right here. I suppose I'm more or less bullish here for Bitcoin, probably retesting its prior all-time high and probably making new all-time highs within this next week or two. Anyways, on top of that, we have this as well. And I want to give a shout out to Gravy Grits in the chats here. I think he goes by Tyler on YouTube, but he called this one out yesterday. He's actually mentioned it to me before, but I did want to call it out right now as well because this is just another sort of confirmation tool I suppose you could use right now, and that is the interplay between this moving average, which is a 55 exponential moving average, and also the Bollinger Bands, of which we can see anytime that we have seen a cross between the two, that being the 55 and the bottom side Bollinger Band, and also the top side as well. But right now we're focusing on the bottom side. We have seen something a very, very specific signature. Anytime that it does cross to the downside, meaning the 55 goes to the downside of the bottom side Bollinger Band, like right here, price action typically gets pulled into it. That's where your big tests and potential reaccumulations do happen, as you can see right here at the $30,000 level. And then more importantly, when you do get the cross back above, with both, of course, having positive slopes as well, that is your continuation phase. We see the same thing over here, cross to the downside, boom, price action gets brought back down to the bottom side of this, and then cross back onto the upside on this next continuation phase. Same thing back on over here. Albeit a little bit less obvious. However, this one did not have as positive a slope, but it did give in the bias that this was going to be a reaccumulation phase as well, as it does cross to the downside right here, boom, dump, cross to the upside right here, boom, pump. The pump and dump. And same thing several times over here, and even to the downside does work as well, as you can see several instances in this phase over here. And then, of course, before in 2019, same thing, down, boom, test, and then back above, and boom, continuation. Same thing right here. And I mean, you really only had like two legs of continuation there, to be fair. So that it was it for 2019. Anyways, more importantly, we are seeing that actually come into contact right now with the 55 exponential average looking across the upside of the bottom side Bollinger Band, and I do look at that as very, very likely to induce continuation. Now let's take this one step further, go to the weekly time frame over here, and bring up our weekly RSI, of which we did identify that there's potential hidden bullish divergence in play yesterday. How would that potential hidden bullish divergence be confirmed? A couple of ways of doing this one. I do think that you could use a daily right here, closing above the top side of the daily range, which would be that 54 to 55,000, or I'll just say $54,000 region. That will confirm it, or a weekly closure above the prior high, which is looking, I mean, that's, it's going to take a little bit of time, as we just kind of had a new weekly as of sorry, not Saturday, but Sunday, that is. Anyways, more importantly right now, if you are more aggressive, you are just looking at the top side of this as continuation, which you could. I typically don't, because it's a little bit too aggressive for myself. You would already say that this is actually having a hidden bullish divergence confirmed, and this is a pretty damn good read here none the left, as we do see that it is popping back up, and this would typically imply a retest to prior all-time highs, very likely a short-term sell-off from that region, maybe back down to $55,000, and then very likely new all-time highs, as you are getting hidden bullish divergence very, very close to the top side of the range already, which is typically a very powerful signal. On top of that, we do see the momentum oscillators are all pointed northwards. Yes, they are pretty damn aggressive right here. Yes, I don't think that this rally can get humongous extension without a greater consolidation phase, but But overall, I am essentially bullish on Bitcoin for continuation here, especially after yesterday, Bitcoin did take out the short-term time frame range to the upside. That was that $51,000 tick right here. Hey, whoops, wrong chart. Let's go back down to Bitcoin right here. There we go. And you can see it closed above right here. Boom, continuation to our next targeted region of about 54 to 55,000 bucks, of which we're kind of testing into right now. I do think that Bitcoin does continue a little bit more in the short term towards 55. Probably does have a little bit of a short-term sell-off as well. And then does it try higher based off this next daily total closure or not? That just remains to be seen, but I'd be looking for a daily closure above 54,000 bucks to give that next continuation phase, play into the bullish divergence on the weekly, and also play out all those signals that we looked at on the secondary charts to open this one up. So all of that stuff plays together and things are looking more or less good here. I also want to point out that when we identified yesterday on the late day wrap up that Dow Jones was having a nice reversal alongside SPY, this one was really the one to be watching. And what do you know? This one already actually retesting the pro all-time high and even making new all-time highs on top of that. So I do look at this one right now as the leader. NASDAQ's getting rotated down, and of course Dow Jones getting rotated up, and SPY's kind of right there in the middle. So those are kind of like the big three right now. Industrials leading the way, and that is, does that bode well for Bitcoin long term? Yes, I would say so. I mean, well, obviously the kind of the response thus far would obviously be within that vein, and we see that this is very likely to continue here as well. Momentum also just pointing northwards across the board, and we do see that weekly is just in a clear blue sky breakout. Again, momentum also is on the weekly looking good, even following that same trend line, which we don't even need to draw it in to kind of visualize that one. And weekly RSI really tells a story as far as the long-term health of this one. So I'd be still bullish on Dow Jones, and I'd be very likely bullish on SPY futures, of which it looks like this one's gearing up for another retest of the prior all-time high. And does NASDAQ fall? NASDAQ's definitely the laggard right now, kind of holding on to its lows for dear life, and the daily looks absolutely abysmal. Don't get me wrong, we're actually going to be coming into a very nasty exponential moving average cross right here too, barring a failure to rally probably within this next day, maximum 2 days, and that is going to have some downwards pressure and actually would and actually might be looking lower. But more importantly, if we do go down to the lower term timeframes, I do think that there is actually some good potential bottoming action going on right here. So I don't necessarily think that the daily is fully representative of what we're seeing right now. We do see clear bullish divergence, multiple stabs off the lows. This is the hourly, which I actually do like the hourly for traditional markets, and same thing on the 4 hour as well. We do have actually no bullish divergence right here, but we do have 1, 2, 3 stabs right here coming off these lows. So I would give it a chance at the very least, and I would not be looking for continuation. And this is not going to be all that helpful, to be fair, but I would go with the overall market here, which is why I'm a lot more hesitant to get full on bearish on this one. Looking for the next stab down to, I guess the next targeted region would be a little bit below 12,000 bucks. Anyways, that would be your 12.3 region right here. Our current low structure on the low term timeframes, also the 1.272 Fibonacci extension from our prior major base. So I would give that one a chance just due to the general market conditions right now. And with that in mind, I essentially favor Dow Jones to kind of give direction here. Anyways, Jesus Christ, man, what did I just miss right now? Oh, goddamn, everything's going crazy. Let's go through the lower term timeframes, and we'll get on to GameStop, and let's see what we got over here on the 4 hour. 4 hour momentum oscillator is looking good in north, but here's the thing: while spot price action doesn't look as obvious, I think that Jesus Christ, man, what the fuck is going on right there? What does look a little more obvious is obviously the CME chart, of which that one never kind of came into fruition, and more importantly did break this trend line that we identified over the last I guess I already have it in there. Well, of course, yes, I don't really reset my charts all that often, but there we go, breaking that trend line. Also an early indication right around here of about $1,000 before actually breaking above the prior range high. That this one was very likely to continue. Now I look at RSI to kind of give the general health of this current rally, and so far so good. Looks pretty damn good, I believe, both on CME and on spot price action. Yep, they're pretty much about the same right there. It's only the Stokes that actually do kind of whip around a lot differently due to the activity on the weekend rather than RSI. Anyways, I also do want to point out this HVP incredibly low right now, and by the way, we are coming into that apex pretty much today. Well, not to the apex, but we are coming into an area where this is very likely to be resolved. I'd say anytime today and tomorrow. This is like the heart of it right now, as you typically do see these sorts of expansion phases come once it gets about 75% full, 70 to 75% full right here, of which I would say towards the apex, and that would be, yes, anytime today, which is the 9th. Yep, okay, so that works out. And then the 10th right here, yep, that would be the sweet spot of this one. And so I am actually looking for that move, very likely to happen within this next 48 hours at the very most. Probably even today would be just as likely. And we haven't seen an expansion phase on the 4 hour since when? Since middle of February, which was this whole move right here from about $51,000 all the way to $58,000, almost $59,000 as you can see. So that is actually kind of a big deal and typically can lead into some bigger breakouts. We see the same thing coming out of the $30,000 to $40,000 base right here. And that also brings into one other question into one other thing, but I'll get into it in just a second. I just want to check the other low-term timeframes first. We see the 3 hour doing more or less the same thing. What about the bi-hourly? Same shit. I mean, maybe a short-term pullback from this blue box territory. I think that would very much be in order, but ultimately I do remain bullish on this one on the higher timeframes, especially as long as we're above 51,500 pivot. And then what about the hourly as well? Yeah, kind of flip-flopping around. Probably does give another try to $55,000, but not necessarily certain that the short-term timeframes want to actually blast this one just yet. Anyways, oh, and by the way, we're seeing expansion from here as well, so I look for that to bleed into the 4 hour. Okay, so that calls into question a couple other things that I've been talking about, obviously, which was Bitcoin's potential to come back down to the $45,000 level. Now, I want to come back here to the monthly and look at the topside trailing band. Remember, any fucking time in Bitcoin's history where it has closed above the topside trailing band, it has always 100% of the time tested the topside trailing band on that next dildo, on that next monthly dildo, right? And so right now with Bitcoin heading back up above $54,000, you can see that already the topside trailing band has been brought up from about $40,000 to $42,500. Now, the bottom side of our current monthly dildo would be about $45,000. So at what price point would that really start to come into contact with the bottom side? Around 60,000, I'd imagine, maybe even a little bit less than that. So before I was saying a little bit above 60,000, I think I underestimated how much this can rise up so quickly with price action. And of course, it is a reactive indicator. So I would say maybe around 58 to which is basically the prior all-time high, to $60,000. Extremely likely we actually will even see that, be touching right there. And that would fulfill the prophecy of which, before I was saying it could be that it comes down and actually tests it, which would, imply move back down to $40,000, or just Bitcoin gets green enough to where it actually just tests it, naturally by pulling it back up. And that's actually looking a little more likely right now, especially when we especially when we looked at the daily signals on this chart as well, and especially the weekly hidden bullish divergences. So it is looking like Bitcoin is just, well, more or less bullish here, which makes me probably look a little bit silly. But at the end of the day, I actually do stick by and stand by those sorts of things very, very intensely because, well, that is actually going to come to fruition. Just, my sort of inherent conservativeness probably kept me out of the trade there. So while I was actually looking for another leverage position somewhere around $45,000, looks like that won't be happening, at least for now. And I would still keep the door open for that one, especially as long as Bitcoin has not necessarily closed a daily above $54,000, but it's looking pretty damn likely that will happen today. Also, I should notify that the daily hidden bullish divergence plays are ticking up right now too, back in the bullish control zone, very, very likely to make another run. In fact, I would even be looking for, at the very least, a test over somewhere around this trend line in the deeper end of the bullish control zone. Not only that, but we see the same thing on the 2-day, which we identified, I think, over the weekend, and then also the 3-day right here, all having that same hidden bullish divergences, essentially be notified right there. So I would be looking for, we see several points of confluence. What I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I guess I'm more or less bullish, especially on the higher term timeframes, and that also does come into contact with what we looked at in the monthly at the beginning of this month with the accumulation distribution indicator. All right, cool. Okay, so let's go check out GameStop, as someone wanted to ask about that. Let's see, is this one still putting in the highs for its life, or what? Is my trading view ever gonna fucking work? Come on, baby. Hey, there we go. Lovely. Oh, wow. Look at that, man. Back up to almost $200. Jesus Christ. Now, I still think that this one very likely has topped off here, to be honest with you. As long as it's below about 225, I don't look at this as anything likely to pop back up to its prior all-time high. For what it's worth, it is looking okay here. It actually is looking okay. Actually, I mean, if I am looking at oscillators and whatnot, it actually is looking pretty damn good. But I do have an inherent bias against this one, just because I have seen these sorts of things happen before, and usually your next sort of bull trappy area is going to be pretty fucking nasty. So in this case right here, I would still, I'll still be very, 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 very intensely biased against it. I'll put it that way. I don't think that this one's going to actually follow through on this one. But hey, if you do see a daily closure above 220, I suppose, then there's not really any real reason to be bearish, I suppose. But I don't really feel that way. I mean, again, this is, from a mental perspective, actually, this does look pretty fucking good. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to be wrong about this one. Maybe I do end up being wrong about this one. Still don't think so, though. Well, fuck, now that I look at the weekly, maybe so. Jesus Christ, man. Let's look at this right here. We are playing off a trend line coming in from August 2019. Well, if that plays out, then yeah, I'm going to be wrong. So fair enough. Jesus Christ, man. Powerful GameStop, but I still hold my reservations against it. Thanks, man. We all have our biases. I would still hold reservations against it, to be honest with you, because that one is not, you can't really use technicals when it comes down to the fundamental situation that's going on there, as that is going to be more of a function of what game Citadel can play, of which they can play they can play a lot. And to be fair, I mean, Citadel's already kind of made their money, so I don't know, maybe they do let it go, as they just make money from people actually trading that one. They are the main market maker after all, so they actually benefited quite significantly from that. Jeremy Shulman says, can check the market cycle top indicator and see if we're still around 93%. Yeah, we can check that out right now. Let's go over here to a fresh, or let's, actually, this is Caretaker's range right now. Oh, what do you know? He's bullish, actually. Looks like Caretaker was right yesterday, and I should have been listening to that one. Anyways, Pi time indicator right here, and let's see where this one populates. I imagine it's actually going to be less, because think about it. The more that Bitcoin rallies, the closer that it gets to that reverse function. So let's see what it has right here. Let's put all of these off, pull this baby down, and actually kind of a tale of two things going on. Obviously, this one's kind of flattening out, whereas price action is sprucing back up, and that is causing the moving averages on this to diverge. So let's, I need to kind of zoom in a little bit more here, because I don't think I'm getting a fully accurate picture of this. Okay, there we go. Maybe, sorry, and I need to go down to a daily as well. Let's do this. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, let's see exactly where we're at. All right, so taking it right there, it's right around about just above $600,000 all the way down to our current low. Yeah, about 91 and a third. So yes, you know, naturally it will go down as Bitcoin does obviously rally. So again, it's still not anything consequential, yes, but it should be noted that it actually has lost about 2% right there. Now, let's just play around with numbers for a second. I am very curious to see what this would kind of measure out to if we were to put in, if we were to go below that about 80% threshold, and that would be right around here, still in the six digits actually, at about 115,000, 116,000-ish region. So I would still say that you know, Bitcoin's mega boolah-ish hopes are still very much alive, I suppose, and respect the old green dildos, I suppose, in the early morning. BFARF stocks says Scott Carney, no time frame involved, so I'm just gonna default to a daily weekly. Whoops, that's SFARF. Hold on, what's BFARF? BFARF. Based off its name, I'm not so sure about it. Bitfarms, huh? Oh, whoops. Let's get off this chart right here. This is not what I want to be looking at it on. BFARF. Okay, so it's some sort of a Bitcoin miner. Oops, I missed an R in there. There we go. Bitfarms miner. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Let's go to a daily for a second. You know, it is still in enough trend, obviously. Does it try another bounce off the 21 exponential moving average and try another move towards 575? Likely, yes. Do I have some reservations about this one? Well, I mean, the daily actually does look pretty damn good. You know, to be fair, yeah, I actually would favor the short-term, medium-term upside here. Very likely a test back up towards 5 3/4, I'd say. What's up, Mr. Cyclone? Bruh. Please, if convenient, tell the TA tale of AMC. All right, I will tell you tales of TA from the nether regions of this world. Looking good right here on the daily. I'd be looking for a retest of about $11 and probably higher over time on that one. I do see some good things going on the daily right now. Daily golden cross going on, and so at the very least, I would be looking for that short-term move up to about $11. Let's see what the long-term looks like. Long-term looks like an absolute shitcoin, so I would be very, very defensive. Anywhere between about 11 and 11.5 You do see that's where your 200 simple and 200 exponential average are coming in right now. And with a long-term downtrend like this, I'm very inherently biased to say that this is not likely to reverse right now. But short-term, medium-term is very likely up. And then I'd be looking for some stop and reverse points somewhere around 11 to 11.5 Hey, what's up, Coop? Welcome to the cave, sir. Welcome to the cave, indeed. Anyways, Hut MF stocks says Scott Carney. Again, no time frame involved, so I'm just gonna go with daily weekly. Looks like he's on the Bitcoin miners here, which is actually relevant to be looking at. The question is, who leads who? Do the miners lead Bitcoin, or does Bitcoin lead miners? Obviously, it's an interplay between the two, but I would say based off this, it looks like Bitcoin's probably going to lead them. And if that is going to be the case, then I would be looking for this one to pop back up towards about $9, which would be really, really interesting information to actually verify, because if the miners are following Bitcoin, then Bitcoin is, well, essentially the first thing that we want to be looking at. It's kind of like your first derivative, except for, I would argue traditional markets probably matter a little bit more for direction, in the same way that Bitcoin kind of sets a tone for, you know, altcoins and what it's looking like, and miners as well. Let's go down to the very low time frames here too, because I'm curious. Yeah, it is looking like it wants to put in a little bit of a higher low right there on the 4-hour. Momentum oscillators looking like they do want to turn north across the board. Hidden bullish divergence very likely does get confirmed with any sort of a confirmed local low right here. Yeah, I'd be looking for a pop back up towards about $9 or so. Krosnick says, did you look at the Bitcoin dominance yet? No, I haven't, except for the well, actually did take a peek at it when I first woke up, as I really wanted to check it out. Yeah, I'm still looking for a reversal here, man. I'm still looking for a reversal here. But again, we see bifurcation in the altcoin market. It's no longer, I can't blanket statement altcoins any longer as of like the last 2 to 3 months now. I'd say it's very much verified. I can no longer just blindly say, you know, all altcoins going to be going down. No, we see bifurcation in the altcoin market. DeFi sector obviously being the kind of darling of the market, leading everything to the fucking heavens. And then you have, you know, your 2017 shitcoins, and they're kind of divided up into more legitimate ones, like it's seeming like Cardano would be. And then it's being divided up between that and like your fucking Walden chains, right? So that is completely changing the interpretation of the Bitcoin dominance chart, because sideways here actually is going to be more or less bad for the altcoin market in its totality, as we would expect that that's mostly going to be a function of DeFi coins just continuing the moon motion, if you will. Whereas most of them are pretty much following off. So it is, you know, it's becoming less and less relevant, to be honest with you, but I would be looking for this one to form a low here. We see clear divergences forming right now off these lows. Just needs to put in a bit of a rally back up above about 62 and a third percent. And then, yes, I'd be looking for this one to have a big up. And of course, this is coming alongside of Bitcoin's inherent bullishness and an upwards bias right now too, as that's going to obviously put downwards pressure on altcoins versus Bitcoin pairings. Anyways, Jesus Christ, man. All right, let's see what else do we got over here. Actually, I got one more sippy sip left. All right, one uno momento, my friends. Just 1 second. Ugh, cold coffee. That is fucking gross. Jesus Christ. Ugh, gross, man. What the fuck? Okay, Style Exterior says, so you have said you don't see Bitcoin hitting 6 figures in 2021. So that doesn't mean you don't put much weight in that top indicator. Forgot its name. Doesn't that mean you don't put much stock in the top indicator? No, because that's not timing a Bitcoin top. That's telling you when a Bitcoin top is likely. So you can see those sorts of reads. Okay, so let me actually explain what Style Exteriors is referring to right here. Is this indicator, obviously. Actually, let's go to a daily and let's go to BLX index. And I just want to show you how long this can kind of get drawn out for. Now, you have to understand that when Bitcoin goes down, naturally the percentage will also go down. So you can already understand that as Bitcoin does put in more and more sideways consolidations, of which I'd say it's doing less and less of that. It's just becoming more and more aggressive on the on the up twist right here. But that percentage will naturally go up again, meaning that it's less and less likely that you actually do get the top. So you can't blindly say that, because it's obviously going to be responsive to the current price action. We can just say that right now it's not really a threat at all. It would still take, just historically speaking, like how long would it take right now? You can see that the differential between these two moving averages is pretty similar to what we see back and over here. And you can see that this was in September of 2017, and the high was put in about 4 months later. So Harlan, September to January, essentially. So September, October, November, December, January, you could say. So about 4 to 5 months. So that is still significant. So could it be put in before the end of the year? I mean, it could be, yes. But again, my opinion of like Bitcoin's next top cycle, that's not really based off of, my timing opinion. I don't really have one. So maybe I wasn't very clear in expressing that thought, but it's less about my opinion about when it can happen. It's more about when I actually get indications of when it's happening. That's when I'm happy to like say, okay, this is very likely to the top, and it's party over for a little bit of time. I wouldn't necessarily give like a time frame on that, unless we're just kind of shooting the shit and you're just like, Krown, if I put a gun to your head and you said and I asked, is Bitcoin going to get to 6 figures this year or not? I'd say, I don't know, no. I'm not that involved in that question. It's not something that I use to trade off of, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think that you can actually do that for what it's worth. Anyways, JR says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? Thanks for the recent live streams. My pleasure, man. Please look at Mara and Riot stock. Yep. Okay. So we got a couple of Bitcoin miners here. Mara Digital Holdings on NASDAQ. So this one actually is kind of legitimate. A little bit of short-term down, it would look like, but I would be kind of basing this one off of the general strength in the stock market right now, and probably be looking for bounces off this $25.50 level. What is the weekly looking like right now? Weekly is looking very toppy, to be fair. So I do express a bit of concern with this one, but first things first, I would be looking for another small bounce off this region at the very least. How would I judge an actual reversal on this one with very likely lower prices implied? Well, first things first, I want to see an actual break of this level. So can we nail this down on a daily? Because the weekly is actually having several warning signals. First things first, we have a long-term downtrend, so that's not good. Second things second, we do see momentum also is turning down. Third things thirds, we do see bearish divergence all across the highs and testing the bottom side of that as well. So long-term, has this one potentially put in the top? Yes, I do think so. But you are going to see a potential golden cross go in on the weekly here too. So if that does play, what I'd look for is an initial pullback actually. And that actually could be a major opportunity, because usually you do see that happen into a major cross like this, especially on a higher term time frame like a weekly, which this one does have, a decent enough history here going all the way back to 2012. Yeah, I'd say that this is okay. So I would be using that as kind of a judge of it, potential to long-term reverse. And in this case, a long-term reversal would be, quite significant, seeing as this is on log scale. I should announce. Let's go to linear. This is what the chart really looks like, obviously. So, that would imply a pretty hefty move. I mean, we're talking about we're talking about a move to about $90 to $100, which would be about a 3x from this price point right now. So I'm very hesitant to just blindly call a reversal based off that. I'm more inclined to say that yes, bit of a bounce over here off short terms, but again, you didn't really give. Oh, you did give a time frame. Okay, so 4 hour and daily. All right, well, daily I'd be looking for another downside test. 4 hour I'd be looking for a bounce off that region again. Somewhere around, what exactly was it? Anywhere around about $26, 25 to 26. $6.5. I would be looking for bounces there, and probably does give another try towards 37.5 because you're specifically asking about those time frames. But I do want to express concern about the weekly, even though you didn't ask for it. So maybe I should just shut the fuck up, huh? Maybe I should just shut my fucking mouth. Right, blockchain over here. Same thing, extremely similar chart. I'd have the exact same interpretation of this one. This one's not as strong as Mara, so I would say in terms of relative strength, I would favor Mara over Riot Blockchain. And this one I happen to know is just a god-awful chart long-term, because I've been looking at this one for a long time now, and we even do see climactic volume a bit on the highs here too. So I am a little bit more inclined to say that this one's slightly more bearish. But then again, if Bitcoin's going to continue here, would you be bearish on the miners? Probably not. No. So I'd probably have the same interpretation of this chart. Very likely a bounce off this level, and then I'd be looking for Mara to kind of lead the direction, because that one is a bit stronger and probably does pop back up to that $54.5 to $55 level, and then decides from there, because you actually do have a few good things potentially going on in the weekly. Golden cross has actually already happened, and you already played out your bearish divergence on the weekly call there too. So yeah, actually this one actually does have some better weekly signals here, to be fair. In that case, I'd give it a chance to bounce first on the short-term timeframes, and then, do we get continuation? I'd base it off the weekly closure anywhere above $57, and yeah, I'd be looking for new highs on that one, I suppose. Jesus Christ, man, things are turning around fast. What's up, Sir Arthur Dane? Welcome to the cave, sir. Welcome to the cave, indeed. Marai Gandhi says, can you look at BitW? It's a top 10 crypto stock. Okay. I haven't heard of it at all, but Bitwise. Oh, Bitwise. Okay, trades OTC. I wouldn't necessarily call that a stock, but it's OTC bullshit. But yeah, looking good here. We do see some higher lows in place. Hidden bullish divergence, all but confirmed right now. Momentum oscillators in an upside posturing here too, as we do see it come into contact with this trend line right at the edge of the bearish control zone. I'd be saying that this one's very, very likely to try another move back up towards north of $115, somewhere around here would look about right. And then does it continue on top of that? I mean, it's a little bit hard to kind of look at the weekly when you have just this amount of information, but based off the daily, I would say that this one does have a good chance to retest those highs of about 140-ish region. But I'd be looking for strength in Bitcoin to really drive that, which Bitcoin is showing a bit of strength right now. So yes, short term very likely upside back up towards about 115-ish region, and then I'd be looking for continuation based off Bitcoin, which is looking very likely. All right, what else we got? Where the fuck am I right now? All right, there we go. Chad Mahmoodi says, please tell everyone to put Ricey in their Tinder and Bumble bios. Blue chip. What, you gonna get a bunch of girls to buy your shitcoins? Or that's genius, man. Girls love to talk about finances, by the way. They absolutely fucking love it, man. If just show them your Bitcoin wallet, baby, this dick ain't gonna suck itself right now. Get on your knees. Just kidding. With respect, of course, with respect. Like, we would never, Okay. Dan Henderson says, chest feeders, that is. Dan Henderson says, emphasis on the daily, please, Mr. Curly-headed prophet. I prefer curly-headed fuck, actually. Emphasis. All right. Microvision trades on NASDAQ, so this one ain't too bad. Looks very similar to a lot of the other... Looks very similar to a lot of the other stocks that we've looked at already. That's rather interesting right there. Let's get the long-term view on this one first. Okay, so long-term, yeah, we're seeing all these like major long-term fucking downtrend pieces of shit get their time in the sun now. It looks like. Is this one actually reversing? It looks like it probably is actually. Let's go. Okay, you didn't give no, you did give a time frame on this one. Short-term does look a little bit like another downside test, maybe towards about $10, but I would be looking for bounces around $10. Likely, I do think that this one tests $15 before this one's all said and done. I don't really have a strong opinion on the long term because this is technically bucking the trend here on the weekly, but at the same time, well, actually, no, it's not. Well, no, it's not. It still looks like shit long term, so fair enough. Fair enough, but it, at least I'd give it a short-term, medium-term bounce right there. I know that you did say a daily, which, yeah, I'd be looking for the daily to trade back up towards $15. After that, I want to come back and see it because I don't feel all that. There are a lot of warning signals on the higher-term timeframes, but I'd give it a chance at the very least on the short-term timeframes for now. Script Skynet says TSNPD. What the hell is this thing, man? TSNPD. Where do people find these things? Humble Incorporated on Trades OTC. Okay, so this one's, oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. Man, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? Hey, look, this thing doesn't trade for months on end. What is going on here? So trades OTC. So there's obviously like some insider trading going on right here, where this thing just fucking goes moon mode out of nowhere. It would seemingly be. It doesn't even trade up to. It's literally not even a penny stock. It's like a 0.003. Jesus, man, that is. I didn't even know it could do that. Anyways, would I be looking at this one as toppy? Yeah, I would be looking at this one as toppy. Weekly bearish divergence probably does come back down towards about $1. Oh my God, some people got absolutely fucking ridiculously rich off this one. Sorry, I should explain. This is on log scale. Let's go to linear scale for the real chart. Yeah, so you see a little bit of accumulation going on at this like less than a third of a cent region, and then out of nowhere boosts up to not $3, $7. Holy shit. Obviously something's going on in there. I wouldn't really trust technical analysis for this. I do think that it does try another short-term upside move, but it does very likely try another short-term upside move. I'd probably be looking for it to go back to like $5.5. It's a financial blockchain payment system. All right, so obviously someone knew something that no one else did, because this thing goes from literally not trading for years actually. This goes all the way back to July 2010, and then it gets some activity 10 years later in October 2020. Obviously someone knew something at that point, so very, very interesting right there, but not something that I'd really trust any sort of like real analysis for. That's clear OTC insider trading going on right there, and enjoy. But hey, man, if you are an insider, well, fair enough. Looks like you were pretty well rewarded for that one. Hey, what's up, Johnny Button? I see you over there, man. Volka says, you recognized hidden bullish divergence on the weekly Bitcoin chart, but the RSI shows lower highs. I interpret that as bearish divergence. Yeah, so here's actually a really good question, and something that I spent a lot of time kind of focusing on in the last year of trading, which has actually really made up a good portion of my own trading, I guess edges, which is mostly just divergences mediated by moving averages and momentum oscillators. And so you would be right on both those counts. Yes, bearish divergence was confirmed right here and right here between this high and this high. We had higher highs with lower highs on oscillators. So that is your bearish divergence. But here's the thing, we did see that more or less play out already. We did see almost 30% move right there. down to the 10 simple, which is going to be kind of like your natural, very bullish target, or target in very bullish markets. And so far, so good. What happens after that? Well, Bitcoin puts in some hidden bullish divergence on the other side. And I've seen this happen a lot. And I'd even go as far as saying that an unofficial theory that I have right now is that divergences play off each other and that they essentially resolve each other. What do I mean by that? Well, you typically see your bearish divergence lead into hidden bullish divergence calls for your continuation bullish markets, and vice versa for bearish markets. And just playing those can mostly get the trending action. In fact, it's really, really useful to use in line with the trend, obviously, because that is going to give you essentially your loss of momentum highs, which we got right here, and then your continuation lows. So it would also tell you when something's naturally reversing too, because in this case, your hidden bullish divergences would likely not play out. And instead come back down below the prior low, which would tell you about a reversal. So again, a bit of an unofficial theory right there, but I actually have noticed this a lot, especially in the last year to a year and a half, where bullish divergences lead into like hidden bearish divergences, and vice versa for the upside. You want to see your hidden hidden divergences come on your continuation drives. So in a bullish market, that's going to be your higher lows, and a bearish market is going to be your lower highs. And then that gets resolved on the other side. And those essentially do get the trending the trending highs and lows. And then you can use momentum also to just kind of judge the severity of that in more immediate times, as you want to see that naturally line up with those, with those lows or highs, depending upon what sort of a market cycle that you're in. So yeah, man, you're right is my answer. You're 100% right about that. It's just, well, this one already played out. Which one got confirmed first? Your bearish divergence. Which one got confirmed second? Your hidden bullish divergence. That's what you expect to see on those sorts of thingies. Thingies like. It's like a steady stream of consciousness, and then thingies. Fucking hell, Krown. Jesus Christ, man. Style Tears says, dude, your answers are always well thought out and well delivered. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I try to be as clear as possible, but I've also learned that it's impossible to be clear as possible to everyone on the internet, because I stopped really like caring about, and this is going to sound bad and maybe a little bit arrogant, but I really just kind of stopped caring about what people thought about my analysis when I literally, I literally have gone through videos where I'll get comments like, Krown, fuck you, you're too bullish, and then it'd be like, Krown, fuck you, you're too bearish, on the same goddamn video. And it's like, one person will say, Krown, oh my god, you called that one perfectly, you were 100% right. And then someone will say, Krown, you literally couldn't have got that more wrong, on the same fucking video. It's like, all right, well, at the end of the day, man, people are going to kind of hear a little bit of what they want to hear. I can certainly do better with expressing myself, but at the end of the day, you can't control what people hear, and so that does make me really, really appreciate the people who do give enough of a fuck, perhaps, to actually listen to the minutia of what I say, because I fear that a lot of people will read the titles of my YouTube videos for the most part, and you have to understand that those titles, they're just clickbait bullshit for the most part. Yes, sometimes they will be in line with what the market's doing. I mean, I'd say that today is kind of one of those days, but more or less having fun with it, because at the end of the day, it is YouTube, and it's kind of fun to poke a little bit of fun at the other more egregious title makers, we'll say. Anyways, appreciate that, man, and I'd like to meet you in Valhalla as well. Mr. Pasek says, my Fingor brother, wait, what? Oh, my Finugor brother came and drank Palinka with me in Holland. Palinka, do you know what Palinka is? The fuck is Palinka? Is that the nasty licorice drink that you guys have? I think it is. The Finns have like the worst alcohol, but they are absolute It's called Palinka. Don't you know Palinka? Oh, it's not Finnish. Okay, well, it sounds Finnish or Russian or whatever the fuck, same shit. Anyways, Krosnik. That sounds awesome though, man. Sounds like a nice fun night. But hey, were you wearing your masks? And were you staying 6 feet apart or 6 meters apart? Whatever the fuck it is. I don't see enough masks in this place right now. I'm ending the stream. We gotta lock it down, baby. We gotta lock this shit down. Krosnik says, Ethereum USD 24-hour, please, sir. Also, how are Finnish tax laws compared to US? Finnish tax laws are, well, they're a lot more harsh if you're looking for like the percentages. You can find that for your own perusal with a nice quick Google search. They're not that much worse than US tax laws, except you do get, more forward, I suppose. You get your free healthcare, you get a lot of free social services if you so need them. But yeah, they do take a shit ton of your money. If you make anything above a reasonable amount, they're going to take a shit ton of your money, yes. But the same thing kind of in US as well, and you do get all of the write-offs as well. Anyways, Ethereum USD 24-hour, please. Yep, I got you. All right, let's maybe not do that one. Let's do one with more history, like right here. And I'd imagine it's going to be the same thing as Bitcoin. We don't see the same sort of divergences that we identified on Bitcoin, which is a little bit strange on the weekly. But that just kind of solidifies my view that Bitcoin is really the one to be watching. We did have that hidden bullish divergence call off the daily, but that was confirmed way the fuck back on over here. That was literally like a week ago. So I said that one's certainly already played out. But in line with what we see on Bitcoin, this one's already breaking the range. The similar region to about $54,000 on Bitcoin would be about 1780 on Ethereum, and it closed well above that yesterday. So I would be looking for another retest of the highs. Daily momentum oscillator is looking good here, about to get into the bullish control zone on the next tick. Daily RSI looking more or less good over the long period of time. Does it have a short-term pullback from the test in the bullish control zone? Probably yes. So I would be looking for a little bit of a short-term sell-off based upon the 1900-ish region, anywhere around there. But ultimately, do I think that it tries another move to the upside after that? Very likely yes. I mean, the market's looking a bit primed right here after a nice about 2 to 3 week long consolidation. Actually, how long was this consolidation? Sorry, that's scratch that. It's more like a week. It's more like it's more like 2 weeks at most. I mean, just 1 week right here coming all the way down to that 45 level, and then yeah, next week a little bit of accumulation. So fair enough. Nice one on that one. Anyways, moving on, the Mad Catter says, good morning, Krown. Good morning, sir. GameStop once again, please stay handsome. I mean, we can look at it again, but I won't really change my analysis from this morning. I still do express a lot of reservations with this one, mostly because I'm aware of the games that Citadel can play on this one. But for what it's worth, I mean, if I was just looking at straight up technical analysis, yeah, this is looking okay right here. I mean, breaking back above that prior high was obviously a good thing and likely does lead up for a little bit of a test higher. But again, I do understand that there's more at play right here with the underlying market dynamics. And again, the games that Citadel can play can really draw this out for a long time. So what I would expect to see here, if this is going to be the high, which I would still kind of stick with that analysis, is that I expect to see a reversal actually from this region anywhere below about $200. That also does imply any sort of a daily closure above there. That's no longer available, and this is no longer a a bull trap after that. And this one very likely does get to join the rest of the market. But here's the thing: I actually do look at this as more likely to be contrary to the general market direction, based off of the way that kind of money fund hedgers kind of have to manage these positions as they are presumably short and trying to work their way out of that. So in order to kind of like balance it out with the rest of the stock market, they have to pull from other places. So that can create a little bit of a dilemma there. And again, I do inherently distrust what's going on right now, just based off that. So again, I don't really have much to say about it other than that. Could very well end up being wrong here too, which would be rather embarrassing. But fair enough. Gonna happen at some point. Kendrick DeCamp says, greetings, leader of Cavians. I'm just part of this community, man. May you indulge us on sharing your thoughts on the Canadian ETF and how that might affect mining companies, if at all. Okay, so okay. Let me see if I understand the question properly. I don't think that you're asking about an analysis from it, from a TA perspective. I think you're asking for more like a fundamental analysis on it. So what are my thoughts on the ETF and how might that affect mining companies, if at all? Well, the ETF, and correct me if I'm not understand if I don't have this proper, but the ETF is not real. It's not like including mining companies. It's a Bitcoin ETF. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. So in that case, I wouldn't say that they have like a direct relationship, but obviously they are tangentially related. No shit, because they are in the same market, and obviously, Bitcoin's health is going to naturally induce or naturally going to imply health in in the Bitcoin miners, of course. But I think what you're really trying to ask, and again, correct me if I'm just completely off base on this one. But what I think you're trying to ask is what sort of interplay would a Bitcoin ETF just have in the general market? Well, I would say that it legitimizes Bitcoin and the crypto infrastructure in general. But more importantly, I think what you're going after is how does that affect the existing like crypto stocks, that trade OTC? Well, what I'd say about that is that very, very likely you're going to see a lot of these OTC names fall off in favor of more legitimized names like you're seeing on Canadian, on Canadian exchanges. And also a few miners that trade on major exchanges in the US. So that is a good thing overall for the general space. It legitimizes it, but for the names that are still trading OTC, that's going to be seen as less and less attractive, especially for a bigger investor who wants the security of investing in an established market like the stock market, like traditional markets, as OTC is typically thought of as it's. I mean, if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, that's where the pink slips are. That's where the bullshit typically is. That's like the shitcoin market of the traditional market, yes, there's going to be some good ones in there, and perhaps they might even go, go full IPO and go onto a real exchange. But at the same time, we will see a wash out there, I imagine, as well. So you're going to see bifurcation in that market here too. Similar to what we've seen in the altcoin market, where the legitimate ones, they'll be legitimized by going into a real market, a real exchange, and the OTC ones, I imagine, just kind of fade off into obscurity and become more or less irrelevant. Not necessarily that they die, because nothing really dies, I suppose. I just heard you already did it. All good, Mad Catter. All good. Oh, Jesus Christ, man. I just skipped over a lot right there. Let me figure this out. Okay, where did I leave off? There we go. Found it. All right, nice one. Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. we have shillers in here. Oh man, this is new. This is new. We literally have like the fucking comment shillers in here. Holy fuck. Oh, we're definitely in a crypto bull market, that's for sure. Tex Hex has a nice donation, but hey man, feel free to leave a message, man. I'm here to chat. I'm here to chat. So JR says, Krown, please take a look at BRPHF. BRPHF. Okay, Galaxy. Oh, this is Galaxy Digital. All right, and you said on the daily and weekly, Novograd's crypto investment. Yep, I'm aware of this one. And daily, it looks very similar to a lot of the other stocks that we've seen thus far, but I do want to get a longer term view on this one on the weekly. And again, same thing here. It's like, I'm always going to express reservations about a chart that has this sort of a history. Again, this is log scale. This is what your real chart looks like. So I'm very hesitant about a chart like this. Now, in the short term, I think that you specifically asked about a daily and weekly. Okay, so weekly is honestly okay here, to be fair. What about a daily? Daily does probably pop back up towards about $16. Let's see what mom oscillators are doing right here. Actually, no, I take that back. Several bad things going on right now. We do see bearish divergence off the highs. We do see daily jewel given a bit of a soft sell right there. It could flip back around. Okay, so here's what I'd say about this one. Yes, you might see a short-term move back up to about $16, but ultimately this one is starting to show a lot of signs of slowdown at this region. So a short-term move back up there, while it would be a good short-term, I do express some concerns about this one on the weekly, especially. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one back down towards about $10.50 after giving a short-term upside move, and give an opportunity there maybe over the next half month to a month. Looking at the higher term timeframes here, I mean, looking at the higher term timeframes, there's not like a huge issue with this, but very likely does push back in the short term. And I actually would be looking for big bounces around that $10.50 level. I think it was it 10.5 or 10 even? Yeah, 10.5. I would be looking for big bounces there actually. Okay, it trades on TS. Actually, let's go see it on TSX. I'm curious what it's doing on a more legitimized exchange. BRP. That is a weird. Okay, it's actually not showing it on. It must have a different ticker in on Canadian exchange. But actually, I would like to look into that, to be honest with you. I think that would definitely be worthwhile. Dennis Tukarik says, morning Krown. Good morning, sir. Can we peek at Cardano Bitcoin on the daily? Yes, we can. Let's go see what Mr. Cardano is doing here. Where the fuck are you, actually? Must be around here. So, hey, poke out your little head, you little shitcoin, you. There we go. Found it. Short-term downside. Ooh, nasty. But is it likely to bounce off this region? Probably likely to bounce off this region, to be fair. What about the weekly? Yeah, I do think that this one ultimately has some nice downside, but do we get a bounce first? I'd probably be okay. So looking at the short-term timeframes, I think this one becomes a little more clear. Short-term down, I would be looking for a little bit of a bounce off of 2,000 satoshis. Nice round psychological number as well. How high does that bounce get? I don't know. Maybe back up to like 23 or 24 satoshis. But ultimately, that bounce, I very, very likely would look for it to get sold into, and then you see some sort of a drive down to the 10 simple on the weekly. That's going to be in line with your prior highs coming in from this area right here on our April 2019 highs, which would be a damn good basing point. So I would be looking for a lot bigger bounce off this level right here. So again, short term, very short term, a little bit of downside. Medium term, pop that one back up, but I'd be looking for that one to get sold into, and then try a move down here. We do have bearish divergence coming off the weekly high, also back below the exponential, it looks like as well. And weekly Stokes turning down here too. So I would be looking for this next contraction phase to bring this one back down, essentially, which I think you were looking at the daily. So kind of just gave you a whole fucking overview of that one, but fair enough. Overall, I do think that it comes further down, but that very likely does end up being an opportunity there. Market is more or less very forgiving right now. The Dominicans are with you. The Dominicans are with me. Fuck yeah! I got the power of the Dominicans. What does that mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm good at baseball now or something. That's good. I like it. I like it a lot. I've actually heard really, really good things about the Dominican Republic, so I need to make it over there sometime after this fucking snowstorm bullshit going on behind me. Style Exterior says Ocean USD 4 hour or daily. Okay. Is this Is this what I think this is? Yeah, this is a 2017 shitcoin, if I recall properly. Let's see how it's done in the last few years. Okay, this one doesn't really have much history. Hold on, maybe I'm wrong about this one being a 2017 shitcoin. Let's see, maybe Bittrex would have it. Yes, it does. Okay, excellent. Oh, wow. Okay, this is what I wanted to see. All right, so again, I want to really specifically focus on something like this because it, contrary to most 2017 shitcoins, deserves a lot of praise. Look at this long-term uptrend over the course of about 3 years now. Yeah, or sorry, no, not 3 years, about 2 years. Okay, apologies on that one. Looks like we don't have as much history as I would have expected, but obvious accumulation level right here, reaccumulation right here in that ascending triangle, boom, up. This one's very likely to make new all-time highs. Weekly is very fucking bullish. It's actually having the exact same signals as Bitcoin, right? Plays out the bearish divergence, that got your last weekly high, bullish divergence or hidden bullish divergence on the other side. Good. Continuation very much implied here. Momentum oscillator is also suggesting the same thing as well. Weekly looks like continuation to new all-time highs. Could you have a short-term move back down to like 125? Maybe yes, but ultimately I want to focus on the higher-term timeframes there because this one is very likely to make new all-time highs probably within this next like couple weeks. Maybe even this week. All right. What else did I miss? We got Ronald Jaspersod. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name too much, man, but I do have a very unsophisticated American tongue, which makes it very difficult to pronounce anything that I haven't really heard that much before. BNB perps on the 4-hour perderped. All right, I got some perderps for that. Let's see. Actually, I haven't really looked at this one too much, but there's BNB perps now? Okay. Oh, there is. Yes, on Binance. All right. So that's interesting. Daily bullish. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards 300. Very obvious reaccumulation along this level right here. I imagine we do have hidden bullish divergence to further confirm that. Yes, indeed we do. And yes, I'd be having short-term targets back up to about 265, medium-term targets back up to about $300. Does this one make new all-time highs from that posturing? Again, in line with the rest of the market, very likely yes. I'd say very, 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 very likely yes. The market cycle is kind of on the Bulaw side right now. All right, let's see. All right. Krown was slamming Ocean BTC a week ago as a long-term downtrend. I mean, yes, Ocean BTC probably is a shitcoin of a chart there. I mean, we can look at this right now, but he specifically asked about specifically asked about Ocean versus USD, which is a different chart, obviously. But yeah, I'd still say that this is a pretty damn shitty chart right here. Probably just put in a local high, and that plays into the narrative that Bitcoin pairings not necessarily going to, not necessarily going to be bullish alongside Bitcoin also being bullish, but versus US dollar. If that is what you're interested in, yeah, looks good over the long period of time. But this is garbage right here. This is absolutely garbage of a chart. This one very likely does come back down, trades south towards low 2,300 satoshis, 2,400 satoshis region. Maybe a bounce implied there, but I have no real reason to believe that a chart like this, an absolute death chart like this, is reversing in its current posture. I mean, this is AIDS. This is AIDS tier price action. Rascal77 says ENJ for the next week, please. You need to make the intro into a full-length movie. If only I could do such things. Let's see ENJ. You didn't give a base pair on that one. I'm gonna go for USD. I do happen to see this one pop up a lot on the top 10 best coins on our app, so I imagine it's looking pretty fucking good. And what do you know, it's looking pretty fucking good. So I believe we looked at this one last week. At the end of last week, it said that, or no, we looked at this one yesterday and we said new all-time highs likely. I believe we've got new all-time highs. This one's already hit all of the targets that I can kind of come up with on something like this. Do I think that do I think that has more highs to make? Probably yes, but what typically does happen after you kind of hit the last of what I have over here on the extensions, you're probably going to go into a bit of a sideways and downside consolidation. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one, level out a bit, come back down to like 130 to 135-ish region, and then try reaccumulation somewhere around there. But for now, I do think that the highs are kind of in. I would not say that the highs long term are in. No, definitely not. This one's still very likely good long term, but short and medium term, I'd look for it to trade down a bit. Let's see. Check out Axie, please. Okay. Axie. What is this? AXIE. Okay. So, this is a crypto. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is crypto. All right. HitBTC and Uniswap. Jesus Christ, man. All right. So this is going to have high expectations. I'm guessing you want to see it versus Bitcoin. If oh Jesus, okay, well this is actually quite nice. Problem is you basically have about 2 days of history, so I don't trust this one all that much, man. Or sorry, not 2 days of history, but you have about less than a month of history, man. I don't have any analysis on something like this. If you put a gun to my head, I'd say, well, you probably hit a top right there based off that, but I wouldn't stand by that at all. I mean, this thing does not trade. This thing is just this thing is. I mean, it's okay for what it's done thus far. We only have a month of history, but I would have to healthily say that I do not know, and I don't think it's appropriate for me to even comment on something like this because there's really not much of a way to do it. And God fucking damn it, these damn dishes get in my brains again. Just like etching little disgusting things in and can't think anymore. Thank you for that, Mr. Ronald. Jasper Sod. Let's see, did I hit everything over there? Okay, I think I got that. Oh, here we go. Okay, John Johnson has a good question. More theory-based, I suppose. But he says, novice trader, but learning. Do you think scalping, day trading, or swing trading is the best way to start with crypto? I would actually push back on that statement in general. I think you're thinking about this or you should consider something else perhaps. I would not actually suggest trading crypto when first learning. Holy fucking shit, these forks. Oh my God. Seriously. It's so goddamn annoying. I want to throw all these forks off the goddamn balcony. This is ridiculous. You're out. You're banned. Women's Day is over, baby. It's time for fork maximalism. Anyways, okay, so I would push back on that statement actually. I would not suggest learning with crypto. If you want to learn trading, I think it's infinitely better to go test on Forex for a few reasons. So I've noticed over the last like 3 years since I've started doing these videos and like having my own community and everything like that, that people, and myself included, I actually do this as well, still to this day, and we all kind of have like this romantic idea of what Bitcoin's capable of doing, right? And Bitcoin, is known to, well, or at least if you've been in this market for a while, you probably have this like romantic idea that Bitcoin's, it's always on the precipice of doing this next like 100x fucking move, or obviously not 100x, but next crazy move. And I find that gets in the way of a lot of analyses because you will perhaps get into a good position and then you start thinking to yourself, oh shit, this is the one that could go to 1 million or 100,000. I heard that on the interwebs. Whereas you really want to be kind of neutral in terms of your mindset towards whatever asset that you're trading, because the less emotions involved, the less likely you are to kind of get in your own way with your analysis. Now, as far as the actual style of trading, whether it's scalping, day trading, or swing trading, I'm not sure what the difference between at least day trading and like in the other two are. I don't think that's mutually exclusive, but that's not really what you're asking. More importantly with that, I would say practice the one that you yourself want to be doing. So that brings into question, do you already know which one you want to be doing? Maybe you don't. So what I'd say in that case, backwards engineer the lifestyle that you're looking for. So if you are looking to be at your computer rather often and you want to kind of play the video game of trading is what I kind of refer to it as, then perhaps lower term timeframes would be the ones to be focusing on, and with a scalping sort of an attitude. Completely fine. Now, if you want to be a little more relaxed and you want to be holding things for a little bit longer, you have a better risk appetite, you're cool with that, then perhaps more swing trading would be appropriate as well. And then you can use the time frames to mediate that. Obviously, if you want to be in, shorter term time frame trades, use shorter term time frames. If you want to hold trades for longer, use higher term time frames. So I would say first, I'd actually switch with the market, because Bitcoin is not really the best place to be learning. And it's also very forgiving right now too, seeing as it's in like basically a perpetual bullish market. What I would suggest is going to Forex, trading some of the more boring, like, high volume pairs, the US dollar, the majors essentially, because one, you're less likely to fall in love with fucking euro dollar, right? And also two, they're kind of in like a perpetual high term time frame range. So you actually learn a lot more trading principles with them. And there's a lot more opportunity, in my opinion, for especially scalpers, in comparison to Bitcoin, which has a little bit less of, it kind of has more of an opportunity cost associated with, taking those short-term time frame trades versus your long-term time frame trades. Yes, there are ways to mediate that. For myself, I typically just have I do have just like a long-term HODL stack, I suppose. And then if you want to trade, you can have that as well. And I think that kind of, solves that a little bit, at least for a lot of people, but not, but maybe it's just better to go over Forex, which I would actually suggest, because I think it's just better to be learning on if that is your goal. Can we check on Tesla, please? Sure. Where's my Tesla? Is that... Dude, where's my Tesla? I think I found it, 563. Further south we go. I believe we did say a little bit more downside yesterday. And no, actually, I was probably looking for a bit of a bounce yesterday, but ultimately this one's kind of keeling back on over. Is this one looking more and more like it has a big top in place? Yes, I do think so. Do I think that it ultimately heads back down towards, 450 or 460? Yes, I do. Is it likely to bounce before that on the shorter term timeframes? Probably yes. The short term timeframes look absolutely abysmal here, though. I mean, this is just fucking melting down. down. It's probably due for a little bit of a relief rally soon. If this thing rallied back up to, anywhere around like 650 to 700 bucks, I'd look at that as a gift. But ultimately, I do think that this one has further downside to go. I mean, the uptrend here is pretty fucking aggressive. It wouldn't be asking for too much to put this one into a more long form consolidation back down around the mid $400 level. See what the monthly looks like as well. Yeah, monthly very likely does bounce off of a low 500, which you could argue that we've kind of already seen at that 540-ish level. I'd give it a chance to bounce first. Is further continuation of the downside implied over time? Very likely, yes. We do have bearish divergence potential as of this monthly with this point right here and this point right here, but that won't be confirmed until we get a closure below about 610 bucks. So it's in place. Momentum also is turning down as well. I'm more inclined to say that this one, yes, will bounce relatively soon, but further on down the road, I'd be looking for a move towards like the mid to low 400s essentially. All right, let's see what else we got. I see Cole Evans. What's up, Cole? Cardano USD. Okay, so specifically versus the US dollar. Let's see what this one's looking like. And we can go to Binance for this one, I think. You said 4 hour and daily. All right, so the 4 hour getting reaccumulated right here. And again, I want to point out, also in reference to our earlier conversation, this chart versus US dollar is obviously significantly different than what we see versus the Bitcoin pairing. Similar to what we saw earlier on, I think it was Ocean. Yeah, I think it was Ocean actually. And same sort of thing here too, versus the US dollar. Yes, looks good, but is it going to outpace Bitcoin versus the Satoshi pairing? Well, that's a whole different story. That's a function of Bitcoin's, Bitcoin's current movement, not just the US dollar. So it's going to be the same thing here too. I'd actually be short-term bullish on this one, looking for a move back up to like 120 to 1.25-ish region. And then on the daily, does this one get continuation back to the prior high? I mean, in line with what the rest of the market is doing versus the US dollar, very likely yes. We do see the same potential divergences going on right here too. Hidden bullish divergence off these current lows. Typically, we'll have a target back up towards this range. So that'd be about a little bit above 130-ish region. So short-term up, daily up as well, to put it bluntly. Looking good, looking good essentially. John Johnson says, "Good point, my friend. I've hodled Bitcoin for 5 years and I'm too emotionally involved." Yeah, and that's why I bring that up, man. That's why I bring that up because I know that that's inherently very difficult to kind of deal with because I know that I deal with it myself, and I know a lot of people who deal with it in the same ways. And it's a very, 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 very common story that I've seen when people are learning trading and they start off with Bitcoin and they kind of have their trials and tribulations, and then so fucking often I see like after about 6 months of getting into the game, then they'll go over and try and get frustrated with Bitcoin. They say, fuck this, I'm out of this, I'm going to go trade Forex instead. And usually it comes with good results a few months later. And so that's why I kind of brought it up right there. And hopefully that can serve you well as well, because there's no sense in trading something that's just going to have an inherent, an inherent kind of contradiction with your personal preferences, I guess. Your preferences, I guess that was a little bit redundant with there. Personal preferences. Yeah, no shit. I guess I just viewed scalping as a high rate day trade style. Scalping is more or less a function of, getting in and out rather quickly, not looking for like a long-term trending move and just looking for, I wouldn't say a few bucks, but relatively speaking, those shorter moves based off of usually ranges in a lot of cases, not looking to hold it for a long time. It can go a lot of different ways with that. But the main message that I'd have with that is again, try out Forex and if you can make it there, then, there's several exchanges that'll actually let you use Bitcoin as collateral to trade Forex. So that way you could still, be generating Bitcoin if that is your goal, which it sounds like it is, while benefiting off of learning how to trade in Forex. It's kind of like the best of both worlds in my opinion. Bitcoin Delphine. Hey, what's up, Bitcoin Delphine? Sir, is a 3-day Joule prediction still valid? Let's check it out. So I do want to see if it's still potential on the CME chart right here. Let's see. Yes, it is still downside angled. So I am still a little bit concerned about this. This is like the one biggest thing concerning me alongside the Trollender bands on the monthly. But as we said, there is a way for that one to actually pull it all the way back on up, which is looking a little bit more likely right now too. This one is still actually a little bit of a concern here. Let's see if it's present on spot price action. Not even close. So that would be that would be kind of the counterpoint to that. And obviously everything else going on, I think, likely matters more. I mean, we see so many points of confluence for a lot, for a little bit more upside continuation here, at least in the short and medium term timeframes. So I'm hesitant to say that this is going to be one of those signals that just does not work out. I mean, when you have one bearish signal versus, I think we identified like 4 on the secondary charts and another 2 on the main charts. I'm going to go with the majority there. And in this case, yes, it technically it is still concerning, but that's the one concerning thing that I can see for price action right now. So I suppose that's going to be one of the only fucking times maybe ever that the jewel has been wrong and I've been right when I've disagreed with it. And that's something, man. I'll take it, but I'm still not completely sold on it, but it's kind of hard to hate this price action right here. This looks pretty fucking good, to be fair. Okay, Dr. Bitcoin says, Krown, any general advice on the use of leverage for a learning trader? Okay, so the question is, any advice for leverage for a learning trader? All right, here's the thing. If you are learning how to trade and you want to be as well-rounded as possible, naturally speaking, you're going to be using leverage because you do need to be able to hedge your positions and you're going to be able to trade, all sorts of dynamic markets, which means that shorting will be a big portion of the game. It's no secret that Bitcoin is, at some point going to go through one of these again, right? Maybe not exactly like this, but what I'm saying is that it's not just going to go fucking moon mission every goddamn day for the rest of eternity. There's going to be long from sideways. There's going to be, there's going to be down markets, obviously, and that is something that you will have to survive if you do want to be a long-term trader, not just with Bitcoin, but with anything else. So leverage is going to be very, very critical to that because you literally need to use leverage in order to short something, and because you're literally borrowing, there's no ways around it. You have to. Now, does that mean so first question would be, is that what you want to do? Second question, because the other potential is that, I don't know, maybe you're just more of maybe you just look for only up markets and you only are on the buy side on spot. That's valid as well. You're going to be limited in what you can do as a trader, but maybe that doesn't matter to you. Maybe you just want to go out there and identify, more or less bullish markets. You can do that. I mean, there's so many fucking things in this world that it's completely reasonable to say. It's completely reasonable, as a style as well. So I would say that's a question for you. I can't answer that for you, but what I would say is that if you do want to be as well-rounded as possible, then yes, you absolutely have to learn, you have to absolutely use leverage. Here's the thing though, people get so scared with leverage, and realistically leverage is just, it's still the same green button and red button. Yes, there are consequences at the end of the day, but more or less it's more important to be practicing actual risk management tools and risk management skills, because that is always going to be my main defense, and I imagine most successful traders' defense against, being wrong. And when it comes to leverage trading, the big fear is that if you're wrong, you could get liquidated, right? Where the exchange comes in and just takes out your position because you're losing too much or whatever. You didn't have enough collateral to cover. So for myself, I would argue it depends on what you want to do first. And then second, it also implies that you're actually going to be willing to be more proactive with managing your risk. In that case, then yeah, I've never known trading without using leverage, to be honest. When I first came as, as a trader on Arca, we naturally would use, we have to use leverage, we had to use leverage. So I've actually never even traded without leverage. Again, don't let it scare you. It's just understand it. First learn it. First understand all of the all of the complexities with it, of which it's not that complex. People just make a big deal out of it because they don't understand it. They don't go through the fucking few hours of reading that you'd probably need to do in order to get up to speed. It really doesn't take all that much. So what I would say is, again, decide what you want to be, then backwards engineer from there. Kind of the same thing as the person who was asking, what should a learner be focusing on? It's like, well, no, that's the wrong question. What do you want to be focused on? What do you want to be doing? That's the way to be going. All right, cool. All right, what else do we got here? What else do we got? Oh, Jesus, man, I missed a couple more. Luke T says, my brother, can you please look at Bcash? Yeah, wow, I haven't heard anyone talk about Bcash in fuck, man, it must be like a year and a half now. Holy shit, is Roger Ver still around? Is Roger Ver still around? Short term is looking good here. It's going to follow the rest of the market, right? 580 is what I'd be looking towards. I guess, actually, that's a 3-day, but still, daily, same thing. I'd be looking for short term upside. Obviously, an uptrend right here as well. Imagine we have hidden bullish divergences off the lows, plus momentum also is pointing northwards. Yeah, and the rest of the market's looking up as well. I'd be looking for a medium term move back up towards about $600. And, does it retest the prior all-time high? Very likely, yes. It's going to follow the rest of the market. Now, long term, how would you describe this chart? This one's relatively weak in comparison to all of the the other charts that we've seen that are, not just retesting their all-time highs, but making new all-time highs, this one obviously is relatively weak. So it's not going to be like a main beneficiary. And I imagine if we look at the Bcash BTC pairing, it's probably going to be absolutely abysmal, of which it is absolutely abysmal. And again, another relationship that I want to call back to that other person who, was saying, Krown, you beat up on Ocean BTC, but you're bullish on Ocean USD. It's like, they're different. And you can see very, very clearly right here, these charts are completely different, right? I'd be extremely bearish on this chart, obviously, versus the US dollar chart. Well, I'm actually bullish on, on medium and higher term time frames. So again, a very, very good kind of relationship between the two. In another kind of instance to kind of point out there. JR says Galaxy is a symbol on TSX. Okay, yeah, let's check out that. Well, I'm just hoping that there's more history there. Okay, Galaxy on TSX, excellent. Okay, there we go. And let's see, is there more history? Well, this chart just looks completely different. This chart looks completely different. It's making new monthly highs, right? This one's very likely to make new all-time highs. I'd be long-term bullish on it, yes. Short-term, does it come back down and grind out like 14.5? Maybe. No strong opinions on that. Long-term, very strong opinions on further continuation to the upside. New all-time highs, very likely implied. Even short-term, I wouldn't be surprised to see this one pop back up to like 20 or 21 bucks. Looks pretty damn good, actually, long term. Okay, cool. Oh, I see Mr. Nimbo, our lovely moderator. Absolutely love Mr. Nimbo. What else we got? Luke Wright says, Yo, Krown, I'm wondering about EGLD versus Tether. Binance. Okay. Oh, nice, man. We got timeframes. We got exchanges. This is great. Oh, man, this is amazing, Luke. All right, EGLD, USD. So that's your tethers right there. And okay, yeah, Binance. Okay, so we got them all. Nice one. Oh, it's a fundamentally strong LEO pick. Well, I would say the chart would reflect that. Very obvious reaccumulation at the highs. This one's very likely to make new all-time highs. Or do we even have hidden divergences here? Technically speaking, yes, between this point and this point. It's not going to register on this indicator, however, because that's a little bit too far back. And momentum oscillators also pointed further north as well. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards that 175 region, and then maybe play out a little bit of a short-term pullback from there, and then very likely continue on to the prior all-time high. And if I had to guess right now, probably makes new all-time highs. Very good chart, and again, that's one of the things that I've learned from Elio, man. Like, it's definitely to my detriment that I do not trade these things, because it is actually like pretty fucking, it is pretty fucking nice there, to be fair. I mean, these are good charts that are very likely to continue. And we've seen several of them now, especially coming from Elio Trades picks. He's he can do stuff. He can do stuff like get in contact with the leaders of those, and he actually knows what the fuck to ask them. I spent a little bit of time speaking about it with him, and it's just like, all right, all right, I trust you, man. I trust you. Although still I don't really do it myself, but it's interesting to kind of be a little bit more in tune with that whole sector. Bless you, sir. Did you look at Ethereum Bitcoin today? No, we have not, but maybe this is gonna be the last one, because I am late to the gym, actually. And we actually have to schedule in our gym visits now too, because you can't have more than like 10 people in the gym at the same time. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ethereum Bitcoin, still bearish on this one, still looking for it to come back down to 3.3.5 million Satoshis. Oh, that's a 4 hour though. Hold on, let's go to a higher term time frame. Okay, so we did get the bounce. Nice. We did get the bounce to 3.5 million Satoshis. Excellent. I do think that that's very likely to be the high on this one. I don't think that Ethereum Bitcoin is actually going to be bullish here in the short term. Can I be wrong about this? Yeah, the daily is showing a bit of a different picture here. But I'd still default to the weekly. I do think that the weekly likely gets this one. What about the monthly here too? Fuck. This one's making it really hard. You know what? I'd go back down to the 4 hour. Okay, I feel pretty damn compelled by this one. 4 hour very likely does come down. I would be looking for a bounce off of 3.3.5 million Satoshis. What happens after that is going to be a lot less important than what happens at this level right here. If you see any sort of a 4 hour total closure below this level right here, I'd say that that's going to be the earliest insight, at least that I would be looking at about 3.3 million Satoshis, where I'd be looking for this whole rally to keel back on over, retest the lows of this, of this area right here at about 3 million Satoshis even, and then trade all the way down for the full, well, maybe not a full retrace, but all the way down to about 2.7 million Satoshis. So I'd give it a little bit of a chance here. I would give it a little bit of a chance, but first things first, very likely a bounce off this area right here. We'll come back and check it out after that because I don't feel too confident here, and I want to be transparent with that. I really don't feel all that confident on this one. We do see that this does have a few warning signals of what would be a bit of a bull trap, but on a 4 hour, it's not going to mean all that much for our higher time frames, and the daily's still okay. So I'm hesitant to get more bearish on it. Other than that, I'd want to see it like break a structure first, and again, that's going to be your 3.3 area. All right. Okay, I think that's going to be about it. What's up, Mike21, TA nerd here. Love it. Absolutely fucking love it. All right, I see a lot of people asking about links, so this is going to be the last of the last one. Jesus, man. Judging by the amount of shitcoins in the chats right now, this is definitely the special part of the microcycle now, isn't it? Much love with that as well. Link looking good here, man. I'd be looking for it to retest the highs, as I believe we said was likely yesterday. This one actually leading the party yesterday, too. I believe someone called it out. Maybe it was like Mark B or something, Mr. Plum Man himself. And I believe we looked at it yesterday and looking pretty damn good here. Maybe it was on Twitch or something, but ultimately I do think that this one tests the prior high at about $34.50. Does it make new all-time highs on top of that? Yeah, very likely yes. I mean, this one has the same sort of dynamics going on as what we saw in Bitcoin. A nice little accumulation level, nice little reaccumulation at a high level. Very likely to retest those highs. And does it make new all-time highs after that? Yeah, technically speaking, I should say I'd want to see a closure above that because this is continuation here, but it's looking good, at least short term, medium term, I'd say. All right, cool. All right, excellent. My plums, Mr. Plum Man himself. What's up, Yasek? Oh my fucking lord, man! I love seeing Yasek in here as well. He gets me pumped up. Let's see what else we got. I think that's it, man. I want to start to wrap this bitch up and send her off because, like I said, I got some places to be, man. I got a very important date. Who am I kidding, man? I don't have any fucking dates. I don't have anything important to do. All right, let's go over here. Do we want to start off with this or nah? We start off with this. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. Let me just take the sleep out of my eyes too. Damn, man. Got my nice Star Wars mug over here as well. It's excellent. Bitcoin continuation, the name of the game right now, as we do see several points confluence suggesting further upside price action, as we do see daily MACD having a potential bullish cross going on right here. Credit to Caretaker on the reverse function for this one, as it will be confirmed a little bit above this level, as you can see. On top of that, we do have hidden bullish evidence also being implied by the MACD histogram right here, making lower lows on the oscillator versus higher lows on price action. Very likely a good thing. On top of that, that is going to be combined with a daily DMI plus signal going above the threshold plus the ADX strengthening. That is very, very good, typically speaking, as we did see the last time we had this sort of an interpretation was back and over here from the February rally from about, I think it was like 50,000, or sorry, February rally was actually 40,000 all the way to about 58,000 bucks. And then of course the rally before that was, or the signature before that we saw was back on over here in December, coming out of the $20,000 all-time high up to the next major high of about 42,000 bucks. And then the time before that was way the fuck back on over here when Bitcoin was breaking out of the $11,500 base. Moving on to about 18,000 bucks. So all these have been pretty damn good. Accompany that with what we do see on the daily Bollinger Bands and 55 exponential average sort of interpretation, as we do see a very clear and long-term history of this, where anytime that the 55 exponential average crosses the downside of the bottom side Bollinger Band, we do see price action essentially pulled into the bottom side Bollinger Band at the very least, sometimes a little bit lower. And then when it crosses back onto the upside of it, that is your continuation phases alongside price action getting back above the 20 simple. That's your brown moving average right here, and just being in an overall upside posturing. Well, we do see the same thing over here, being brought down. Boom, there's your test. Boom, there's your next bullish cross. Boom, there's your rally back above the 20 simple. Nice. Same thing over here. There's your bear signal, test. There's your bullish signal. Boom, massive girthy green dildo party. Same thing over here. Bear signal, test, shoots through on this one, but this does end up being a reaccumulation, to be fair, and that actually was going to be an ultimately excellent position long term. And then same thing to the downside over here a couple times as well. So we do see that is actually giving off the bullish signal as it is right now. Or at least it's going to have a chance to do it tonight. And so I would be looking for very likely a retest of the prior highs and probably continuation on top of that. Now, as far as structure goes, what would I be using for this one? I'd be using the daily closing above the bottom side of this blue box territory. That's also going to be synonymous with the 2.272 Fibonacci extension, which actually has gotten our highs thus far extremely well. And that is just about 54,000 bucks, 54,350 to be exact. Any sort of a closure above there, I would look at that as a structural break, further confirming another move back up to the 618 right here at about 58,000 bucks. And then on top of that, we do see that the 2-day, the 3-day, and the weekly all have hidden bullish divergence being confirmed very likely as of today. Here's your 2-day, here's your 3-day. And here's your weekly, all looking pretty damn good for a retest of the prior all-time high. And based off the weekly, does that make new all-time highs on top of that? Likely yes. And how would I judge the downside on this? So what would be an indication that Bitcoin actually is going to come back down and maybe even test 45,000 bucks again? Because I do think that is still possible, although a lot less likely right now. Remember this signature on the Troll bands on the monthly. Every time that we've closed above, every fucking time in history, 100% of the time, Bitcoin has come back down and tested the top side Troll band. Well, that's actually getting pulled up incredibly aggressively right now. With Bitcoin already at about 54,000 bucks, it's already been pulled up to about 42,500 bucks. So another 2,500 bucks to about 45,000 bucks, which is our current low, would happen probably around 58 to 60,000 bucks, which I was initially saying about 60, a little bit above 60,000 bucks, but it looks like that's actually gonna be happening faster than that. So that is one of the ways to satisfy that condition. And at that point, I mean, that would be it for me. I mean, I don't really see any other major conflicting signals. Also, we do see that HVP very much in an expansive posturing right here, as it does get all the way down to about a single digit read for about half a day to a day. And now expanding from that territory, does that come alongside a breakout to the upside? I mean, it's looking, I guess, a little bit likely here. But what would be like a short-term downside indication? I'd still be using the same 51,500 pivot right here in line with the 2-spot extension that did get price action very well on the way to the upside and the downside too. So I do think that it's still relevant. If Bitcoin does break that to the downside, I would say that keeps up the medium-term bearish hopes alive for a move back down to at the very least 47.5 and potential continuation to that $45,000 level right now. But it's looking less and less likely here as Bitcoin continues to improve itself, and of course the underlying market dynamics supportive of that, as well as we do see that open interest making almost new all-time highs alongside price action crawling above the range too. So with all of that said, I do want to wish you the best and the happiest. These streams have been absolutely phenomenal recently. Really enjoying the banter and back and forth and the good conversations. So I want to say a massive thank you to you out there. And with that said,